Sheriff?
Good morning, sir. Nice to see you again.
Fire away, but no.
Nice to see you again as I testified in the jail health issue a few weeks ago. Thank you for this opportunity. Good morning. My name is Barry Virts, and I am the Sheriff of Wayne County, as well as the incoming President of the New York State Sheriff's Association. Thank you for inviting me here today to share my thoughts on the potential legalization of marijuana in New York State on behalf of the association and my fellow New York State sheriffs. I must first acknowledge that as a law enforcement professional and a member of the executive branch of government, it is my responsibility to enforce those laws which are duly enacted by the legislature. However, whatever the final outcome may be after this hearing, my fellow sheriffs and I will uphold the law. With that said, I would like to share my perspectives with you about this proposal and suggest that this may be an inappropriate time to consider any type of decriminalization of marijuana in New York State. As you are no doubt aware, our nation, our state, and our counties are in the midst of an opiate crisis. The vast majority of the arrests of my office makes are drug-related, whether directly, as for possession of dealing, or indirectly, such as crimes committed in order to fuel an addiction, burglary, robbery, assault, and fraud, or crimes committed due to an altered state of mind caused by drugs. When so many of our friends and loved ones are battling substance abuse problems, it seems counterintuitive to go in the opposite direction and legalize what is currently an illicit substance. It is my strong belief that legalization will result in an increase in the use of marijuana, and at the same time would trivialize the negative effects which could lead to further, more serious drug use, especially for our youth. From a frontline law enforcement perspective, such an increase in marijuana would be taxing upon my office, and likely other police agencies as well. In 2017, my office made 16 arrests for driving while ability impaired by drugs. This was 12% of the total DWI arrests made by my office. I have no doubt that the number will increase should any type of legalization occur. Unlike DWI involving alcohol, DWAI, drugs, is more difficult to prosecute given the fact that there are no drug test procedures or device equivalent to the breath chemical alcohol test. That is, while a breathalyzer will render a blood alcohol level, which can be presented to a jury, for blood tests for THC will only reveal the presence of the drug, but not its overall prevalence in a person's system. Furthermore, such a blood test must be administered by a qualified healthcare professional. Therefore, the roadside observations of the police officer who initiate a stop for suspicion of DWAI drugs becomes crucial. My office employs 2 drug recognition experts who specialize in detecting the physical manifestations of drug impairment. It is expensive and time-consuming for police officers to become such an expert, and I suspect that my office would need more deputies to become certified should there be a relaxation of the current marijuana laws. Additionally, the United States Department of Justice has recently announced that they will be changing their policy with regards to enforcement and prosecution of federal marijuana laws, which is still classifies marijuana as a Schedule I controlled substance. Federal prosecutors will once again have the discretion to prosecute marijuana-related crimes. This conflict between state and federal laws would create confusion for our citizens as to what is legal and what is not. I would encourage you to take these concerns into account when deliberating whether decriminalizing marijuana in New York State is appropriate at this time. I can understand your concerns about how a conviction early in a person's life can devastatingly impact their future prospects, but with the passage of Raise the Age last session, there should be less of a risk of such a thing happening. Thank you for allowing me to address you today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you do have, sir.
It's codes, health, and alcoholism on the marijuana subject. I don't know if you were in law enforcement back in 1977 when the decriminalization law passed. Do you know whether at that time that legislation had any significant effect on DWI volume?
At that time, sir, was my first year of law enforcement, 1977. And at that time, that was about the change that we started to recognize DWI as a highway safety issue. MAD became about around 1980. Our DWI, Stop DWIs program started in the early 80s. And again, a lot of this is about public education and public safety. If I might just add, not only as a law enforcement professional, but as a father. My wife and I have 6 children, 5 daughters and 1 son. I have intimate knowledge of how drugs affect a family. Our son started out with marijuana, went to huffing, to cocaine, and now is a recovering heroin addict. So again, I don't speak from this just from a law enforcement perspective. I do understand that not every group or person is going to abuse a drug, but my fear is this is just a mixed message to our youth as we go forward.
And in other states around the country, including states close to New York, is there data on the effect of allowing adult use in those states on DWI?
There is data. I can provide that to you if you would like. Also, I paid a lot of attention to what occurred in Denver. A great influx of capital to the government and the municipalities, but it also has brought several issues to local law enforcement and communities. And we would be able, from the association, to put something together for you if you'd like that, sir.
That would be very helpful. If you can email it into us, that would be the best.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity, and whatever you enact, we'll enforce. Thank you.